Musubirachi, Musubirachi, Heikorachi. Really push that big toe into the floor. Grip. Knee, toe up. So we're trying to activate and feel and press every part of the foot into the ground in sort of different sequences so that we can use the foot efficiently to move or to stop or to kick or whatever it is we're doing. So one thing that's often missed is that when we spread the toes here and I transition from my big toe back, I'm actually trying to put my long toe, on top of my big toe for like when you do toe kicks. I actually cannot do that. I've been trying for years. But when you do that position, as you push the big toe in, imagine it's like a nukite. It's toe on top supporting. So we just twist in, and knee, just rotate and get that rotational movement into the foot and the ankle. So while still pressing. So when I'm in sanction, I'm essentially doing that too, right? When I'm in sanction without lifting the heel, it's similar. That foot is kind of spread. I've got that rotational energy. Right? And then sokto outside, your knee inside. So outside is easy to see. Sometimes when we do these type of kicks to the side, if I'm using the foot blade as opposed to the heel. And also when I do ashibarai, I come from that big toe to the outside edge for ashibarai. And then of course squeezing in for sanction. So she tucking the pelvis, go. Lock, then up, back, up, trigger all the way up so my foot, my instep is in line with my shin, just like when you do a front kick. When I do a front kick, it's basic front kick is that way, right? So essentially I'm going that way. I'm going all the way up, all the way back this way. Knee, on, quite a forceful push back, so it's kind of quick, like when we do say it's Kata. Like kick and then pull that foot back or push the heel forward. Just walk with the toes, just pulling, strengthening the foot and the toes. Works particularly the front. So build up some muscle over the shin bone if you want to do shin kicks. We circle, gyaku, and press. Working the knee joint, right? Down, back straight, squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. So it feels like I'm squeezing in, my head is sort of raising up when I squeeze inner thighs together. Knee, so, circle, then open. So that back straight, like kurung before we got that position, right? So this way, as well as just lubricating the knees. Think about kurung for kata. Knee. Good, and then we're stretching. And I'm thinking about the back of the knee here. I'm rotating so that my inner thigh is coming up, but then I'm going to push the big toe side of the foot back to the floor as much as possible. Foot edge sideways. First one is we open up this leg, the hips this way. So if I was doing sekai, I'm more in that position, right? Knee. I'm trying to tuck the tailbone. I'm tucking the tailbone, so I've got this inner thigh rotating up again, this one too. Knee. So I put a lot of pressure in the waist. Zen Kutsurai. So turning the hip. Knee. Back foot is flat, outside edge of the back foot. I'm pressing to the floor. So not on the inside edge, I'm trying to get the foot flat. Then you tuck the tailbone again, tuck the tailbone, so you're taking out that arch of the lower spine. So when you're doing Zenkutsu arch, we're not like stretched out an arch in the back. So that pelvic tuck in knee. So in Gorju, the Zenkutsu arch is not too long, except for special techniques like where you're doing that. Or the foot, just for the hip flexors. Keep squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. Hip forward, shoulders back. Kaku, opening. So opening the groin. Knee. So this is foot flat, and if I lift my heel, so I lift my heel, I can actually open the hip more. I can open the hip more like for Fuchi-geri. Knee. So it's like a variation of that. Shikodachi. Press with your arms, flatten the back, head up slightly. So we're thinking about keeping the waist connected even as we bend over. Pressing back with your hands, and you can push forward with your legs. Hizate. Actively pressing my hands down so that if someone tries to lift up, it won't go, but I'm locked here. My elbow's not bent a lot, but it's slightly bent. So the reason I'm not doing this is that I want to get the idea that I can pick my foot up really quickly from being stationary. If I have my hands here, I tend to go like this. Boom, and go fast after I've already started to move. The first movement is quick. So we have the feeling of your foot is stuck in the floor. Imagine it's stuck in mud, and you're trying to pull it, it won't come. You get more and more tension here, and then suddenly it pops out. So we're using that visualization, and obviously this area, and also the abdomen to do that. So ready? He's up there. Fast. Watch my body. As I lift, I'm not transferring the weight. I'm just going to lift. So it's on my head. So my head stays in the same place almost. I lift my foot and put it down before I can fall over. Let's try cross. So just get a little bit wider crossing. Still trying to keep the weight on my front foot. Keep the knee bent as you lift up. So I'm not rocking. Not this way. Not up and back. Like when we do these movements. Up, up. Not rocking. Up. So ready? Each. On. When I lift my knee, I do not want it to affect my arms. So I don't want to go unless I'm deliberately doing it. So I should be able to keep my arms completely still and lift the leg independent. So when we're doing movements like in Kurumfa, these movements, the upper body isn't affected by what the lower body is doing. This is loose, so they're not attached. It's not like create tension here. It's like boom, like that. It's like rags. Knee, on, other side, each. Knee, you just turn your waist. Heavy, arms like chains. There's a couple of different ways to do this. My feet are flat in the beginning, and I'm not letting my waist rotate so far that it stresses my knee. So I'm actually controlling the movement to a certain point. I'm not going as far as I can. Then if you want to do more, you can lift the heel. You get more of a rotation. So keeping the heavy arms, we circle. I'm in Sang Chin. I've got a loose fist, but heavy. So when we do these type of movements, heavy. These type of movements, heavy. Ashkai there, side. Water, both. Jump, palms. So of course we're stretching the wrist for different movements, but also what we're trying to do is create a lot of pressure without lifting the shoulders. So when I press together, I tuck the tailbone here, and shoulders down as I press. The stronger I push, the more I focus that contraction. So each push, and then we just relax a little bit to stretch. Forward, stretch, down, stretch, shake it out. We're going to grip. Remember, we've got 4 things going on. We've got the nukite in the beginning, the fingertip, the whatever the next one's called, the next knuckle, like nigiri game, and then the fist. So there's 4 points of concentration. So the first is open. So each, name, song, shape. Each, name, song, shape. We're going to stretch. Push. Down. Other side. twist, push, down. So we've been working our way up through the body, and then when we do this little routine for the wrist, so first I do the stretch. So I'm working the wrist. I'm opening. I'm really stretching the fingers open. I do all these at different levels. So once I've really stretched my wrist and my fingers, then we grip it. We grip it, grip it, grip it. So having stretched, that enables that exercise to be more effective. And then we go to another stretch, but more working the wrist this time. So that's this one, like that one, that one. But these are not the only ways to do it, but these are sort of kata movements. Well, these are the kata movements, right? Kata movement. Obviously, this way. Obviously, you can have other sort of stretches which you don't really see in kata. You can do other kinds of stretches, different angles. But the reason we do these ones is because they follow the kata. So we're in shikodachi. My feet are wide enough so that my shin can track over my ankle, and my knee is over the ankle too. So I don't want to be too close, and worse is being too wide. So everyone's going to be slightly different, but here, then we sink. I'm not stressing my muscles at all here, the leg muscles, because we're catching the weight. Through the structure of the body, we sink, then we inhale deep into the abdomen as we come up, and we exhale as we drop down. So it's up, we knee. So if you look at the way you do sanshin, when I pull in, and I push out. So this is the same thing. This is like the pull in, and this is like the push out. You're grounding all the time, but on the pull in, you tend to really focus lifting. And when I push out, I hold that and really focus on sinking. But the lifting here is not to stand up. It's also a grounding movement, but I compress all this area. If you think about these exercises, they just exaggerate that to help you focus on it. So I go up. I'm standing up, but I'm compressing. I'm not standing up this feeling. So stand up, compress, and then you just sink. You just sink down as you exhale. Get in a kata movement and stay as that. It's that feeling. Up. That would be the inhale. That would be the exhale. It's important to see where these exercises come from, otherwise they're just random exercises. And we see one more, which is going to be the press forward. There's various of these exercises. Pressing forward is probably the safest in the beginning, so you don't hurt your shoulder if you push up. So we're going to press forward. So same thing, we inhale on the way up, tuck the elbows. I've got my wrists slightly higher than my elbows, so not this way. And then we drop. I'm trying to keep the forearms close to the side. We come up, inhale, drop. Leap, leap, each, leap, each, top, knee, drop. If you've got a giant boulder, or just a big rock, and you drop it into a puddle, the rock hits the puddle and the water goes like that. It's like that. So the lowest point, when all the energy of the rock is hitting the water, boom, the water sprays out. It's kind of the same feeling here. We're learning to use the bottom of the drop to maximize the energy through whether it's the hand or the foot or whatever it is. So if we're doing a knuckle push-up, the idea is to strengthen the line of the punch. So I'm going to focus on mostly my index knuckle. My second knuckle will be touching also. But what I don't want to be is like that, unless I'm trying to train that type of punch, which we do too. But most of the time, we're going to have that alignment. Position, my hands are under my shoulders, each, elbows in, knee. So again, there's so many abdominal exercises we can do. So the basic ones we do are really the technique also. So we're doing this technique where we push and come up. So I'm actually kicking with the heel. I'll hide your net. Good, and then kata otoshi.
Like both of these movements can be striking or they can be sweeping. By that I mean, like if you grab hold of someone and kick their leg out, whether they're kneeling or standing, you can sweep them over. And also these techniques, particularly when you go sideways, that's sweeping technique. Last one is chin to chest. So I'm gonna tuck the chin before I lift. So I'm tucking the chin, which moves the back of my head higher away from me, as if my neck's getting longer. And once I'm in that position, I just lift each knee. So as you lift, you try to really focus into the solar plexus, tighten the solar plexus. We'll do 5 more each. Solar plexus knee. Tuck there. Stand up. But typically when you stand up, for physical safety, so you don't hurt your back, you turn to the side. So if I'm not worried about an opponent and I've done a sit up, I tend not to just do this, because that's the time when I'm not thinking about the exercise anymore. That's the time I can just tweak my back. So usually when I sit up, I just roll to the side, so that's safe for your back, and then you can stand up. But from a defensive point of view, obviously that's the very worst way to stand up if you got knocked over, or if someone's trying to hurt you. From there, we roll to the side. So now I'm protecting the vital areas. I sit up so that my head is far away from the front, so I'm not this way. And this hand is like my gauge of distance, so I'm not going to let anyone get past this hand. And then before I stand up, I'm going to kick my leg out. If I kick this leg out, then I have to put my foot down and then stand up. So we kick the bottom leg out, because then it springs back, so it's just one motion to stand up. Stretching the neck, so again, tuck, each, down, up, down, up, side, side, look side, shoulders back and down, knee. So if I was doing my, like a get down, but I am kata, that's the position of my shoulders and head. Shoulders back and down, here. Knee, so that's what I'm trying to think about. Circle, gently. Your position, left hand on top. Close the bottom hand, grab it. Take it against your head. Tuck the chin, and we're just going to push your head into your hands for 10 seconds. So just pushing and tucking the tailbone, my belly is tight. Yeah, I'm there. And then just rotate it one more time. Should feel a lot looser after doing that. Right, yeah, I'm at Junbi, the preparatory exercises, owarimasu. Complete. Arigatou gozaimashita. We're relating all these kicking movements to the movements we did in Junbi and the way we do in Junbi, and trying to make that connection so that when we do Junbi, we're practicing this or whatever. And then when we're doing a kata, we're using that practice to improve our performance. So I've got my left foot forward and then this position. Without moving the upper body, we're going to kick, land, and hiju. That's what it is. Fuchi-geri, hiju. So just as when we were doing the Junbi, we don't want the arms to be moving, and then I kick, this hand remains solid. It's as if I'm pushing with it. If I just take a step, I push, and what does it move? I feel like I'm pushing. So when I kick, it's like push, boom, and then when you land elbow. I get it, hiji. We'll just do it 2 more times. I get it, hiji. One more. On. I get it, hiji. If I'm stepping forward in Sanchin, I move this heel in to free this hip forward motion and to release this hip from this like it's blocking me off. This is blocking me off. So just like I would do in the Sanchin step, my heel comes in, my foot moves through. So from here, I'm just going to let my heel come in. So that when my foot comes up, this has got easy, it's not getting blocked off. It's through the middle that way. Ish. Just two more. Hey. Good. One more. I'm gonna kick, hiji, ski, and then we're also gonna do the next part. So I have a back leg movement where I keep my upper body still. And then I got a front foot kicking technique where also I try and keep my body still. So Fuchi-geri, hiji, ski. Then we draw the leg back, and we can even stop in practice. Then we kick, boom. Try not to let this happen. Not that. So good. Hey, kick, hiji, ski. Hey, up, down. Hey, Fuchi-geri, hiji. So that if I draw a line, my elbow is coming more to the center. I have to lift here, and this is very similar to hizate. It's a quick movement and just striking short. When I do side flap, it's the same thing, but I do not have the luxury of having something to hit. When we do it in kata, it's the same pressing, but it's done as a controlling or blocking, whatever you want to call it. The lift from here is the same, and this hand presses down. Let's try it. Let's just go slow. I'll do it like a mirror. So we're starting this way. The right hand is up. So we go across and then pop it up. And then we hold. So we don't move this. We kick. Boom, we kick. And then we step across here. Boom, pop it up. And then we hold. Kick. So here. Nee, so, she. I actually don't think this is a real technique. I think Miyagi-sensei just put it in to keep us all humble. The hands are coming up, this is coming up, but really, when my hand comes up, it's not coming up. What's really happening is my elbow is going down. If I think about my hand coming up, then when I do this type of movement, I'm always tipping that way. So you don't want to think about your hand coming up. You want to think about, yeah, you've got this movement, just your elbow's coming down. And even more so with this one is really pushing down. So if I was going to fall over, I think I should be falling that direction. The reason we fall the other direction is because we feel like we're lifting. And then we have that little feeling of sort of stuttering before we kick. Concentrate on this side of your body, down. Then if I'm going to lose my balance, it will be that way. And hopefully, elbow down, press, boom, kick, press, 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 elbow down, press, boom. Like really, like if you stand here and only exaggerate this press down, you will start to fall that way. So then you balance it by also keeping this side down, this elbow down. So it's like I'm trying to find like this even pressure with one hand seemingly coming up, but really it's both elbows down, and the other one seemingly pushing down. That feeling. It's relatively easy to lift your knee, but it's not easy to lift it with force and keep your balance. You know, obviously we can go, well, I'm going to be really careful, but to pop it up is this opposite, press and lift, not up. Essentially, when we do kata, we have front kicks and we have these kicks. So most of the kicks are front or this way. And then we have a couple of others, which is the Fuchi-geri and Super-impe. Typically, when I do Fuchi-geri, I'm going to use my hands, because using my hands to jump makes sense. It means I can jump higher. But in the kata, we're deliberately not using the hands. Well, we are using the hands, but not for that. So we lift the leg without moving the hands, and especially the second part, when we're going to launch off that leg, I don't want to do this. So I have to keep my hands in position as I kick. That's the important part of this movement. It's not how high you get. So I have to hold that sanction. My elbows are down. So my upper body is coming up, or my lower body is coming up, if you like, but my upper body is coming down, so I've got that compression. If I keep the compression, I won't need to move my hands. So obviously jumping in the air is difficult to keep the compression. So if I keep the compression, my hands will move because my body is moving, not, that means I lost the structure. The safe way to do it is, if you haven't done this move before, is just stand, lift your front leg, and then just hop. It's just like hop, that's all it is, it's that movement. Obviously, little by little, the left leg can come higher. It's just 1, 2. So we have the front kick, we have the side kick, we have the Fuchi-geri, we have this position. We have seisam when we pull, that feeling. We have this one, that feeling. We have that one, that feeling. So I think the only one we haven't covered yet is the Fuchi-geri in Superimpe, and that one is where I'm here, and I'm going to bring my foot up to my hand, and this one I will move the hand, but what I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Particularly this hand, my elbow stays locked and back like in sanction as I hit this way. But this hand moves, but only to turn. So again, the idea is upper body remains still as you do the movement. You've got to imagine pulling as you do that. It's that dynamic. This hand pulls as you do that, but it's staying on the side, so you're not necessarily showing that. I mean, it's not obvious, but I'm pulling this hand as I hit, just like I would in sanction. I'm not holding, I'm pulling.
No, I just had a question about the furi. What is the translation for Fuchi-geri?
Furi just means to swing. This is furiuchi, swinging strike. But really, any swinging strike is furiuchi. The Fuchi-geri is just using your leg. And then obviously you can be more detailed about it. It's like a swing as opposed to a thrusting type of movement. Another thing, I'll tell you this because I think we've only actually ever taught it at one seminar, is that when you see these type of movements in kata, there's not too many of them, but you see them quite a lot in Chinese kata, where they're doing things like these type of things too. And one of the applications to that is it's a distraction technique. I don't know who is familiar with Patrick McCarthy Hangshi. Like, he does a distraction technique where he spits in your face. Well, he doesn't do that in seminars, he just kind of blows. But he learned that in China. Obviously, it's a common street fighter technique too. But he particularly learned it in China. He told me the story, and he thought it was particularly effective, so he uses it all the time. And the other effective things are to slap your hands in someone's face, because it creates even if you're not close. So one of the applications of this technique is here. If you do that, and I actually did this on someone in a seminar just to demonstrate, because they asked about it. I went like that, boom, and then I kicked their leg at the same time. So what happens is they're like, oh, boom, suddenly they're here, and the next movement you're doing is you're coming up with a knee, because it follows. There's a spin, but if you don't do it with a spin, you follow it with the knee just as a dropping. It's a secret technique. Don't tell anyone. Imagine doing Gekisai kata. So we're going to keep the upper body still. Fuchi-geri, Hiji, with that rotation so the elbow's not out. Just do one more of those. Fuchi-geri, Hiji. And then we got the Sanseru, we have Fuchi-geri, Hiji-ski. And then now this part, keeping our balance. Let's try that. Ready? Fuchi-geri, Hiji-ski. Come up. Like far. Probably the most difficult one. Here, knee, kick. Other side, knee, kick. Fuchi-geri, back this way. The last one was Fuchi-geri. Fuchi-geri, hand doesn't move. When I do that like kick low, There does have to be a bit of punch into it, so the movement isn't just a swing, it's a I've got a little bit of a hit back into the movement. Even when it's high, it's still like a bit of a punch. You know, the natural progression, if I'm doing a front kick, is also to do a back kick, because that's the opposite direction. If I do a punch, also to do something behind, right? So for this one, the opposite of that is that. You can practice that way. Practice Toby here, then I can also do a Toby here too. It's a relatively just simple class today, but it's these things that make the difference in understanding what we're actually doing. And then once you have the principle, you can adapt it to whatever you want to do. If it doesn't matter what I do with my hands, then it completely changes what I'm trying to do with my technique. And that's where you get things like Fuchi-geri is to kick people off horses, things like that. Because all they're trying to do is jump high. I mean, great if you can do that, but I don't think that's probably the original purpose.